All right, real interesting fight tonight. Chris Algieri versus Errol Spence. And I know I broke this fight down in an earlier video and I said Chris Algieri was a live dog. But I kind of went back and revisited my analysis and I thought about this fight even more deeply. And the more I think about this fight and the more I break this fight down, I originally said this was like a 60-40 fight for Errol Spence. But now I'm really thinking about it, and I see this more as a 65-35, 70-30 for Errol Spence. I'm going to recant my previous statement and say that I believe Errol Spence will win this fight. But the big question is, how will he win this fight? I think because Chris Algieri is very durable. We've seen Chris Algieri. He's a decent defensive fighter. We saw him against Ruslan Provodnikov make that adjustment and use the ring very well against the slower Ruslan Provodnikov. But we can't forget what happened early in that fight, where Ruslan Provodnikov was able to tag him early on, knock him down a couple times, really swell his eye up profusely. So the big problem, I think, with Chris Algieri is his tendency to want to get in exchanges. We saw it in that fight, and we definitely saw it in the Amir Khan fight, where he wanted to get in there and fight with Amir Khan. And as competitive as that fight was, I still thought Amir Khan won that fight 115 and 113. And I think, making no excuses, I think he was surprised by Chris Algieri's willingness to exchange throughout the whole course of the fight. And that was basically an inside type of war, if you really look at it. And we all know what happened against Manny Pacquiao. Chris Algieri tried to take it to Manny Pacquiao. He tried to throw a lot of punches. He took a lot of chances in that fight. He went in and out, but Manny Pacquiao is a very underrated counterpuncher. And in that fight, he did an excellent job of timing Chris Algieri coming in, and he was able to just catch him with that left hand over and over again. But one thing Chris Algieri has proven, at least to me, is he's a very durable guy. He's in phenomenal shape, and he can take punishment. We saw Manny Pacquiao knock him down about 6 times, and he kept getting up, and he kept coming. We also saw him against Ruslan Provodnikov take such hellacious shots early on. A lot of fighters would have quit with that eye being swelled up like that. There's no doubt he could not see out of that eye, so he virtually fought that fight, with one eye, blind in one eye, basically, and he was able to last the distance against a very heavy-handed guy in Ruslan Provodnikov. And Manny Pacquiao, even though he has not scored a knockout in quite a long time, he is still a very dangerous, devastating offensive fighter, and he can hurt guys. There's no question about that. And Chris Algieri stood up to those shots as well. And Amir Khan is no powder puff puncher at all either. And Chris Algieri took some good shots in that fight, and he lasted to the end. So the big question is, to me, I think not whether or not Chris Algieri will win this fight, but will he finish this fight on his feet against Errol Spence tonight? And the percentages tell me that, yeah, I think he will finish this fight on his feet because he's been in there with guys who are very dangerous offensively, guys who can hurt you if they're able to tag you. He stood up to the punishment of Manny Pacquiao, as I said, Amir Khan, as I said, and Ruslan Provodnikov. So I think that he will be able to stand up to the power of Errol Spence tonight. As good as Errol Spence is offensively, there's still question marks as to how he's going to do against a better opponent, a step-up opponent in Chris Algieri. I think he'll win this fight tonight, but I think Chris Algieri will last the distance. So I know that I said Chris Algieri was a live underdog. I'm going to backtrack on that. I'm going to switch it up. And I'm going to pick Errol Spence, but here's the twist. Errol Spence is a huge favorite if you bet him straight up. Okay? He's a minus 1,500. But if you bet him to win by decision, you're getting a plus 160. So beating the odds with Beeb is recommending that you pick Errol Spence by decision in this fight. That's the play that beating the odds with Beeb is going with tonight. Errol Spence by decision at a plus 160. I think it's a great move. A little risky, but judging by Chris Algieri's track record, he's proven that he's in shape. He's a durable guy, and he's resilient in there. He's got a lot of wherewithal, and I think he will make it to the end of this fight. but I think he will come up. So beating the odds with Beeb is going with Errol Spence tonight, plus 160. All right, that's all for now. Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. Talk to you after the fight tonight. Peace.